Hi, I'm Monica Cabrera, a safety learning specialist for Pinnacol Assurance. My main focus is to promote safety and worker well-being.
And I'm John, a human performance specialist at Pinnacol, which means I'm focused on anything and everything that contributes to a person's safety and well-being and allows them to be their best. This presentation is one example of that, learning how we can optimize our productivity by understanding our sleep patterns.
Because we can't be our best when we're tired.
Let me ask you, do you consider yourself a morning person? One of those early birds who's up at the crack of dawn and ready to conquer the day?
Or are you more of a night owl, someone who starts to come alive in the afternoon or evening and thrives in later hours?
This identity describes your sleep pattern, which is based on your circadian rhythms. Sleep patterns can have a big influence on your abilities, the physical and the cognitive, your mood, and your overall health and well-being.
Learning to recognize your own sleep patterns and habits will help you optimize your productivity and maximize your potential.
So today, you will complete a self-assessment to identify your sleep patterns. Then, we are going to discuss the influence of those patterns to help you identify the optimal times for you to complete different activities in the safest and most productive manner throughout the day.
And we're going to give you a tool to plan and manage and track your own daily productivity. Are you ready to get started?
I'm going to ask you a series of questions now. Each of these questions is adapted from a bigger self-assessment, which can help you identify your personal sleep patterns. I want you to take notes on how you would respond to each of these questions so you can refer back to your answers later. Approximately what time would you get up if you were entirely free to plan your day? I know that for me it really depends on what time I get to bed the night before. Approximately what time would you go to bed if you were entirely free to plan your evening? At approximately what time of day do you usually feel your best? If you usually have to get up at a specific time in the morning, how much do you depend on an alarm clock? I personally depend on that alarm, but once it's set, I always end up waking up before it goes off. You've decided to do physical exercise. A friend suggests that you do this for 1 hour twice a week, and the best time for him is from 7 to 8 in the morning. How do you think you would perform at that time? Would you be in good form? Reasonable form? Would you find it difficult? Or would you find it very difficult? You have to do 2 hours of hard physical work, but you are entirely free to plan your day. At approximately what time would you choose to begin?
Daniel Pink, author of When, The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing, explains in his books that we experience 3 stages of mood throughout the day. The first stage, the peak, is when our mood rises in the morning. The second stage, the trough or slump, is when our mood declines in the early to mid-afternoon. The third stage, recovery, is when our mood boosts back up in the early evening. By understanding the 3 stages of mood, peak, trough, and recovery, we can monitor ourselves and others to ensure there are no lapses in vigilance. This is true for many professions. To give you a specific example, research shows that doctor visits after lunchtime increase the chances of injury. Driving accidents are more likely to happen between 2 and 4:30 due to the afternoon slump. If you can't avoid driving at these times, always be sure to stay vigilant and alert as a defensive driver on the road, but especially at this time of day. If you find that coffee is necessary to use during your afternoon slump, consider taking an cappuccino by drinking a cup of coffee at the beginning of your break and napping for 25 minutes. No matter what you choose to do during your afternoon slump, be sure to plan intentionally to keep yourself out of harm's way.
Everything we've discussed is only useful if you make the effort to track your productivity throughout the day. To help you do that, we have created a productivity planner for you. I'm going to demonstrate that planner now, and it will be available for you to download as soon as we are finished with this course. Now, this is no ordinary planner. We've included intentional sections that were designed to help you track your productivity and organize your day. The first section of this planner is where you will identify and write down the most important tasks you plan to accomplish for the day. This will help you focus on one primary goal to help ensure that your priorities are met. Next, you will see the section where you will schedule 2 breaks. I've already discussed the value of taking breaks, And the best way to ensure that you take those breaks is to schedule them ahead of time. To figure out the best time of day for you, take a week to chart your mood and energy levels. You should see a consistent block of time when things begin to go south. These are your optimal break times. Write down the time that you will take your breaks in the boxes on the left. Then, in the space next to those boxes, list what you plan to do during those breaks. Generally speaking, breaks will be most beneficial if you can incorporate movement instead of being inactive. You'll also get more benefit if you can get outdoors, if you can engage with others socially, and if you can completely detach from work or other responsibilities. The main idea is that you do more than just stop working, that you do something restorative, something that is different from the work that you've been doing already. So if you spend most of your workday sitting at a computer, your break shouldn't involve moving to a different chair so you can pull out your mobile device and check your social media. Or if you spend most of the day on your feet, it might be more restorative to take a load off for a few minutes. Below the breaks is a section to create a to-do list for all of your tasks, with a column on the right-hand side under the header When. This is for you to think about what is involved in completing that task and assign the time of day that you will be safest and most efficient based on your mood and energy levels. Schedule higher risk tasks or those that require greater physical efforts around the peak or recovery stages, in the morning or later in the afternoon. And schedule your lower consequence tasks during that midday slump. Or at the very least, acknowledge when you may not be at your best and try to build in safeguards like allowing additional time or double checking your work. At the end of the day, write down 3 key tasks you've accomplished. Ending your day on an upswing by chronicling your progress can be enormously effective. And finally, write down your most important task for tomorrow before leaving. At the end of the day, you are most aware of what still needs to be accomplished, and when you get started the next morning, you already have the most important task for the day identified. Thank you for joining us today.